Hello everyone. I'm annoyed. I literally have been talking for 30 minutes for no reason, thinking that I recorded, it didn't record, and this video is super long because I recorded this video in December of 2022. No, 2020. No, 2024. December 23rd after watching the Sonic 3 the movie the first time. Was a review based off of it. Since then, I've recorded this video, re-recorded this video because I lost the video. I lost the other video. The other video didn't have volume. This video didn't have volume. I edited, got it, and went to go post it, and I couldn't listen to any of the volumes. So I'm a bit irked right now because I don't remember half of what I've said in this initial review, and I only have the current review. And now my brain is just so angry because I literally just got this video done. I looked down and it didn't record. So I hope you guys are doing well. I hope you guys are having a great and fantastic morning, evening, noon, or wherever you are. Um, so I'm gonna try and take a break with all the Sonic on the channel. I have like 15 different videos that are gonna come out soon, and they're all legitimately just Sonic projects because this movie invoked such an inspiration and aspiration and just nostalgia in my soul, and it like healed it that I was like, I have to draw it again. For a little bit of context, what am I drawing? I'm drawing Shadow and my fan character that I made when I was 10. Keyword, I was 10. Have I revised her since then? Yes. Have I renamed her since then? Yes. Do I still love her? Yes. Do I hold her very close to my heart? Yes, I do. Um, Based on that, this was based off of a dream that I had directly after the movie. So, another dream video, and I hope you guys enjoy it. Um, so her my brain just went kaput. Okay, so right now I'm drawing and sketching out. You could tell Shadow's proportions are not correct, and neither were hers, so I had to like shrink her a little bit and do a little finagling. I end up changing her outfit halfway through sketching her out because the outfit that she's in is like game universe, not the movie universe. And this Shadow, I just love how sweet he kind of is. And the entire movie, he's just like a cute little. He's a cute little, like, I just want to give him such a hug and squeeze him to death. Be like, you're just so cute, even though you're supposed to be a ball of anger, a ball of edginess. Review time. Okay. So, like I said in the beginning of this video, this is a Sonic Movie 3 review, and I'm gonna try and remember all that I literally just said and what I felt the first time watching it rather than the second time because I recently watched it for a second time because I bought it, went home, literally bought the pre order version of the movie, and I've watched it again since then and still feel the same bit way about a few things. Um, but having since watched it again, a lot of it makes more sense with the directions that they went through and a lot of different inconsistencies that I thought that I saw and I didn't like the first time. Anyway, so that's get into the movie. The movie. get into get into the review. Um, Quick context though. So her name is Patty, and the reason why I'm drawing her and Shadow together is because obviously she's her love interest is Shadow, and she's the older sister of Amy Rose, and that to give you a gist of it, I talk more about her in her own video that's coming out soon. But the main reason why I'm also drawing it is because when it was a random literal dream that I had the night after watching the movie, and I was like, I have to draw it because Keanu Reeves, the fact that he voices Shadow, I love. I will say it. I still will say it. I said it the first time I heard it. I say it now. The fact that Keanu Reeves is Shadow the Hedgehog, I stand. I love him. I don't like the current voice actor for Shadow in the games. Like the current, like Shadow the Hedgehog Generations. I don't like him. I don't. He just sounds more like Batman, even though he's not Batman. But I don't know. the way that his voice is raspy gives me like it gives me like shivers down my spine, or like you know how your skin can crawl. That's how I feel. My favorite Shadow voice actor was the voice actor for Shadow the Hedgehog, the game. And I'm gonna, what was his name? Shadow the Hedgehog video game. Who voice acted? Who was his voice? Who was his voice? That's hilarious. Who is? You know what's hilarious? Looking up for his voice actor, you just find so many different things. Like who's Shadow's the Hedgehog's girlfriend? That's hilarious. He doesn't have one. Who was the voice actor? I'm pretty sure it's Kirk. And if you're in the comments telling me who it is, I'm so sorry. Voice actor. There we go. Hold on. You're telling me all of them. I don't. Oh, is it Jason? No. Kirk Thompson? Kirk. I think it's Kirk Thornton. That's who I'm thinking of. That's the Shadow that I grew up and I loved. I feel like, and ever since then, I've heard the different voices of Shadows, and I like him the most. Because it just I feel like in his voice, he embodies like the stolid, kind of, but heavy. Um, I don't know. I just like his voice actor a lot more instead of the like the current one right now. But I also have that feeling about the current voice actor for Sonic himself, and I don't know. I just don't like how he voices him either. Um, I know a lot of people have their different takes on the voicing acting, but it's just kind of icky. I get icky feelings. And the current Sonic voice actor has been voicing him since Sonic Boom, and I didn't like him when he came out in Sonic Boom. And Sonic Boom came out when I was 14. Anyway, so far I love the voice actors' choices. I love how they brought back the original voice actor for Tails. Um, so far, Ben Schwartz, is that what his name is? He's a great voice actor. I didn't know he voiced a lot of my childhood until I looked him up, and my brother was like, "Hey, sis, look." I was like, "Oh." He has a very good take on Sonic. I like him being Sonic. At one point, I was kind of tired of hearing his voice because at one point he was when the first Sonic movie, or the third Sonic movie came out. I think the second one came out. It was him, his Sonic, and then it was him as Leo in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the animated universe, the newer one, which I didn't like that rendition of Leo. And then it was also him as Dewey, and I was like, okay, I'm tired of you being all three of these characters, and they all three are the same exact personality. Okay, but so far I like his take on older edgy Sonic in this movie, and I'm just gonna say it right now. This movie is heavy on the teenage angst, and I'm here for it. I'm stan it. I stan it. I love the fact that since the first two movies came out, my little cousins were kind of around the same age as Sonic in the first two movies, and now they literally are in their teenage angst era and matches them completely. I went and watched this with my younger cousins. It was funny because I don't really have any many friends who were willing to watch Sonic with me, and my family didn't really care about it. Like I told my dad, and my dad was like, "Huh," and so I was explaining it to him. He was like, "Oh crap, okay," but he wasn't into it. So I had said it to her, like girl, one of my cousins, when I took her out and was just hanging out with her. It was just me and her day, and I said I wish I had a partner in crime to go watch the movie because no one wants to watch it. And she looked at me so offended. I was like, "Well, I'll watch it with you. I want to watch it." And sure enough, I go to pick them up, and they're both her and my cousin because I bought her tickets. Her brother. They're both they're preteen age, and I think he's gonna turn 13 like next month. But I picked them up, and they're both dressed in black. Well, not both of them. She's dressed in a darker blue. She has blue sneakers on, and he's dressed in all black, but has one singular red thing on. And I'm like, "What are you two doing?" And they both went, "We're dressed up as the characters we want to see." And I happened to have worn yellow that day, and they both looked at me, and my girl cousin, she went, "Lily, you're Tails." I was like, "Thanks, that's cool." But they were excited, and the fact that we could do that with these characters, and it was funny too because watching it with them was just a good and cool, and I love the fact that I got to experience it with them because a lot of the things that I saw and I loved the movie from the games, Sonic Adventure 2 and Shadow the Hedgehog and So forth, I loved. She never got because she just watched the movies. They didn't play the games. I played the games, so it was for both. And I feel like they could have done it. They could still do it a bit better. In my opinion, overall, the movie needs another rendition. There's one more good rewrite, and it would have been perfect. Um, you have great writers. I don't know why these writers don't know how to write pacing. Um, the second movie had pacing issues. The first movie kind of had a lot of pacing issues too, and this one sadly fell upon the pacing issues. The whole London scene felt so excruciatingly long in the theater. So when I watched it on my laptop in my room, I skipped majority of it. Um, However, watching it a second time, it the a lot of the beats just went a little too fast, and having remembered how to write, how to having remembered how to be taught. Geez, that's try and say that sentence like so many times, and my brain literally is just turned off right now because I've just got so frustrated. Anyway, um, but having remembered what I was taught. That's what I was. That's what I meant to say. Pacing is a big thing that you need to nail, and if you don't nail pacing right, your entire movie is off. And the fact that you're 3 movies in and you've grossed so much money and you still don't know how to write pacing just makes me a bit angry. Um, I will say this movie is animated so beautifully. I love the way that this movie is animated. And recently, I think I talked about it in a newer video that's coming out because a lot of stuff came out after the movie came out on digital. This concept art was released, and I have a full rant about that. I talk about. I forgot where I was going with that. I'm not gonna lie, my brain just forgot where I was going with it. Oh, I talk about how much I loved how the movie was filmed and the cinematography for it. So, if you're excited to hear my thoughts about that part, it's in that video. It's coming out soon. Currently, I should talk about what I'm drawing, to be fair. I said a little bit. But so this is based off of the moon fight, essentially, that happens in the movie. And this scene that I'm drawing isn't directly in this third movie that I put from my head in the movie. This is based off of like the fourth movie. And can I just say, I flippin' called it. I called the fact that it's going to be a time travel warp thingy because Amy comes out in the second game. I'm pretty sure, right? Did she come out in the second game with Metal Sonic? But since they decided to do Shadow first, I'm like, how are they going to introduce Amy? Because Amy comes before Shadow. And a lot of people that I saw originally watching reviews when the reviews came out, people were of the same opinion of the talk that Sonic had with Knuckles is literally the talk that he had with Shadow, and it's supposed to be like that way. It is designed that way. Sonic has always been designed to help move people forward in life. He is that friend, legitimately, that gives you advice consistently, but never takes his own. Which is also why I don't really care for him. But how they're writing him now in the IDW and a lot of like the Frontier, like I think they came out with a new update for Frontier recently last year. So the game is a lot more, in my opinion, enjoyable to watch. I hadn't play it because I didn't like the movie, the story aspect of it. But since the new update that came out, the hot fix that came out, I was like, okay, I see what you're doing. I like how you're writing him now. He's now growing up. He's showing growth. And I'm all about growing. I love growing. I love people who do the work to grow. And I love the fact that with Shadow, he's the embodiment of growing. And I will get in the next time. But so basically, this is considered the third movie. They basically just fought off an alien army. This is my interpretation. My little brain came up with this at night when I was sleeping. They had just fought off an alien invasion, and for some reason she ends up on the moon. She doesn't fight at all, and that's the thing with Patty. She makes technology. She has a connection with technology. She can physically feel their life force, their neurons and all that stuff, and she can feel what they're thinking. She can control them with her mind, and so she doesn't fight, but she had to fight at this point, which is why Shadow is there protecting her a little bit because they have a friendship. They have a blossoming friendship, and it's not because her sister has a friendship with him. It's based off of the mutual love that they have for Amy, and that's what brings them closer together. In my head, in this short little dream. Um, but she ends up getting caught on the moon and is kind of like float away, and he ends up catching her. And she had watched him kind of go into the horde of these. She hadn't seen him the last time she saw him. I think it was vaguely interpreted that he had died, and so she just got emotional and was like, "I thought you died." And in the Keanu voice, because I just watched also John Wick that day. That entire weekend, I was obsessed with John Wick. Everything Keanu Reeves, John Wick, and I'm like, oh. But he in the Keanu voice, he just goes, "What and risk missing, leaving you, or risk missing your smile." I don't remember specifically what he said in that dream, but I just woke up feeling like, oh, I need to draw that. So this is what I'm drawing. Later in the video, I'm gonna draw a really, really bad look of the moon's surface. It's because I didn't have reference, and that will be my one tidbit of suggestions is whenever you're drawing something, reference, 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 reference. There is a what is it called? A quote out there. No, not a quote. A saying, a phrase for a reason. Still like an artist. Get a lot of reference so you know how to accurately draw a lot of things now. Shadow, I had to consistently look to draw Shadow because I haven't drawn him in literal years. I haven't drawn any of these characters in literal years. So, having watched the movie and going back into my little, basically the franchise itself, it's just been a whirlwind of emotions and relearning their anatomy and relearning all of their stuff and how correctly to draw them. Like, I refuse to draw their feet so big and their hands so big because I just think it's weird and I don't like the anatomy part of it. But all that to say is use reference. I didn't use reference, so I may go back and fix the moon, or I may just leave it the way that it is. So I'm so sorry if you end up yelling at me in the comments about how my mood doesn't look realistic and I did a lot of weird shading stuff to it. And I did. I'm not gonna deny that. I did. But so that's the gist of this art piece that I'm currently drawing. And I'm gonna segue into Keanu Reeves, the way that he voice acts, and I just have this one critique. And I don't like how, I remember this too. The reason why I made this video was because a lot of YouTubers, a lot of people keep saying the word critique, but they're using it in the wrong context. Critique is basically you say a few things that are great about the artwork, but then you give them a good source on what's wrong with the artwork, but also how to help them push it forward. People use critique, say, I'm just giving you a critique, and then just crap all over the movie. And I'm like, no, that's not a critique. So, my critique for the movie is the voice acting and direction for this movie should be done a little bit better than what it is. It just needs one more, like the whole script needs one more rewrite, and then it would be fine. Or, for example, Keanu Reeves in his voice acting, or even I forgot his name, who voices Knuckles. I do agree a lot of people are confused and conflicted about the voice actor for Knuckles because his British kind of comes in and out, and it's like, okay, you're an entirely different person halfway through. But I feel that way about Keanu. Keanu Reeves, I've heard him voice act. He's a great voice actor when he puts his heart and soul into it. I've heard him voice act specific characters too. I'm like, okay, great, cool. Shadow didn't get any of that. It felt like he didn't know how to be Shadow majority of the film, and then the very last 30 minutes of the film he finally got in his groove, and then it literally ended. I feel like either I don't know who it would be, if it's his fault, or not his fault, but it's the lack of experience on his end, or it's the voice direction not giving him what he needs, or how to understand, like, hey, give him the time for it, or just give him better notes, or if it's just for time constraints and that happened to be the very last thing he ended up recording, and the stuff that we heard first is just kind of the stuff that they put together. So it could be a multitude of things, but my opinion is he needed a little bit more voice direction, a little bit more time to truly understand his footing with Shadow. And he's come out and said it too. He didn't want it to be just like Knuckles, or just like John Wick, because after watching the movie, I went and watched John Wick, and I went, "That's Shadow. Just do that." And it was funny because I had a conversation with my mother after that, and she was like, "He didn't want to be John Wick, duh." And I was like, "Dang, you're right. He wanted to be something different." So like, I love the fact that he's flipping Shadow the Hedgehog. I just wanted a little bit more, and if he had gotten another chance, or had someone else given him a little bit more voice direction after the fact or during it, and then really listened to how he was voicing him, then we would have been great. We would have been bomber. We would have felt like his heart and soul into it, because I didn't, like I said, I didn't feel it until like the last 30 minutes of when him and Shadow were like him and Sonic were bantering on the moon. I'm like, oh my god, no, we're here. But they also didn't give Shadow very many voice acting roles, and despite Shadow being known to be quiet, he talks a lot in the game. To be fair, like I would watch something, I'm like, you talk so much, man. Like watching, or like I've been playing the Shadow and Sonic Generations, and I'm like, he talks all the time in this game, and of course he has to because it's him. But still, I'm like, give him more. And he just looks like a lost little puppy. Um, he does, and I love that though about movie. I do say Sonic movie universe Shadow is one of my favorite ones because he has a little bit more life to him. He doesn't have like the entire world on his shoulders. He literally is just mourning his friend who had passed away. And do I still hate the fact that they changed it? No, I don't. I don't particularly like the way that they had changed a lot of the movie. Um, but do I know why they changed the fact that the way that she had passed? Yes, I do. Though I feel like for a more representation part, for a lot of people who go through diseases, I think it would have been better. Would have been a bit neater, like I said, for more representation about it. But he doesn't feel like, a lot of people said he doesn't feel like the savior like he's supposed to be, whereas in the movie he literally is just an alien. They're like, and right now in the video, I'm like watching my stuff back over, and you could definitely tell where I'm just putting random shadows here and there, trying to figure out a light source, and you could definitely tell it. And I'm so sorry. This part. I mean, after the fact, I was kind of proud of it, but it was kind of like, I don't know how to do this. So that is why you have reference, my friends, because you stop yourself from becoming confused like I am, just putting shadows and shades and places willy nilly. Anyway, I do like the fact that they made it to where she's a kid. I love the fact that she never takes him seriously. Maria, I'm talking about Maria. Um, that version of their relationship, I feel like, was there in the games. You just never saw it because he was literally mourning, being kind of the savior in a sense, because he was supposed to help her, save her from her disease. And then you get um, I do like that change. I don't like the change where I think the the general dies, and he just, I don't know. Gunn is supposed to be the bad guy in the games, but in the movies they're just there, and I don't really like that. Like if you want to play more with that. Play more with, they're supposed to, you have to have a definitive bad guy, which I do. I'm okay with Gerald and uh, I have gripes about it. To be fair, having watched it on a second run, I'm like, okay, that's purely, and they made it purely for kids, that the Gerald and Ivo. But I do like how um Ivo, you got to actually see it rather than just hear it in the game version, where Ivo was just like literally told that this man that I loved, that I looked up to, that my family disowned me based off of, is a monster. Um, I don't like the fact that they made him an orphan in the movie. I think that was a pretty bit dumb. They didn't explore more on it. However, case in period, I know why they did it, and that's okay. Like I'll live with it. Um, but having talked to my cousin about a lot of like the backstory with the story, like the game part, she wanted it. She wanted it. So those are my own. And then for one thing that I wish that they had continued with, and I do agree on, is the humor bits and then the serious bits. There's no in between. And Disney used to be great at it. They're not so great at it anymore. Nobody is great at it at this point, I don't think. Um, and I agree. Like for example, we're nearing the end of the video. I'm pretty sure. Yeah. So I'll talk about that more in the next video. I hope you guys liked this video and me just talking about my version and my review of the video. And I hope you guys like and subscribe, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye!